Okay, you guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry, and I guess the vote is, yeah, all of you so far that have commented that I can tell on the last video have decided that you want to see another canning video, a meat canning, any kind of canning, and you don't care if I've already done it, apparently, so I'm going to give you what you want. So I'm going to start trimming up this meat because, you know, this is actually, I just washed my hands, and this is actually got some fat on it. Some of it I want to keep. I'm gonna trim the fat, and I'm gonna put it in a separate bowl so I control how much fat goes into the actual grind meat that I'm gonna do. And these little pop-up things, I think they're a bunch of crap, but that's just my opinion, and I have my little world that I have my opinion in. Anyway, I thank you guys for responding and letting me know what you want me to do. Sometimes I ask and nobody responds, and I'm like, I'm not sure what they want. So I'm going to rinse really quick and get a couple knives out here. I really like having a fillet knife available to me. Fillet knives are fabulous when it comes to working with big cuts of meat. We use them, we just buy the inexpensive ones at Walmart when we're doing our deer meat. And so, you know, that way if we dull them, it doesn't matter. So I've got a kind of a fat type bowl right there. And these roasts actually, for as inexpensive as they were, because I've bought untrimmed tri-tip and cut off 1.5 pounds of fat off of a 2.5 pound roast. You know, I end up with 2.5 pounds when I thought I was going to get a lot more. So it's very disappointing. I don't like that. Because you are going to grind, you want to make sure that you're adding fat and not sinew or gristle, because it will stop your grinder. So I'm going to grind some of it, but I'm also going to can some of it, because I'll tell you what, if you guys have never tried canned roast beef, it is my all-time favorite out of everything I can. It tastes like you slow roasted that beef all day and pampered it, and oh my gosh, it's delicious. So I'm just going to trim all this meat up, and then I'm going to cut it into some manageable pieces that will go down into the grinder for the grind part of it, because I am going to do some grind. But, so you'll get a little multi-facet video. And you'll hear in the background I have my chili beans going in the canner right now. I hope it's not too loud, because those... for pennies, I made 7 quarts of chili beans. If you guys are trying to save money and cut back, you have to become more self-sufficient. You have to have skills that maybe your mother or your grandmother or your aunt, you know, had, and you never had an interest in because there's a grocery store that grows it on the shelf. Yeah, whatever the case may be, I say educate yourself. I mean, there's tons of videos out there and tons of people that will help you. So this is obviously going to be a piece of grind meat, I'm saying. This is my opinion, anyway. So I got, these were like the end of the roast, I guess he said. Anyway, so I want something that will fit down the grinder chute, as it were. And we'll see if my KitchenAid will, the attachment I got for it, will hold up to this kind of grinding. It did great on the turkey, but I don't know about beef and fat and all that. We'll see. If not, I'll bring out my my other grinder. And if not, I'll bring out the hand grinder. No, it will. One of them will. So yeah, I want to have some fat in there, but not, I don't want a bunch of gristle and all that. So, okay, I'm going to wash up. I'll bring you back when I've got a big old bowl of meat cut up and ready to go. I'm excited to bring you along for the ride. You know, I enjoy doing these videos. I love all your comments. I'm probably not going to answer every comment on that last one just because there's so many already. I'm just going to do the video and that'll be your answer. All right, you guys, I'll be back. Okay, so this is what I got. I cut it all up. I trimmed the fat and the sinew that I didn't want as much fat, but I do want a little bit of fat in here, and so I left some of it in there, but sinew and gristle, no. Like when you can come across these thick veins like this, let me see if you can see it. Yeah, it's got a thick vein of, you can't cut through it very easily. You know that that's gristle. Now, if you were canning the beef for stew meat or just canned roast beef, that will break down and make your dish delicious. But you've got to cook it for a very long time. I don't want to put it through this grinder. First off, I don't believe this grinder is strong enough to handle it. Even my bigger grinder I don't think would handle it, and I wouldn't want to dull my blades over something I don't really want to eat necessarily unless it's been stewed down. So I have these two bowls, and they're cut up in strips thicker this way than that, but you know, so I can put them down the chute there. And then this bowl is all about the dogs. It's the sinew and gristle and a little bit of fat. I don't want too much fat in their diet, and some of the meat that's attached to it. And so they're going to, I'll cook this down and make, probably a couple weeks worth of this and rice and some vegetables for over their dog food at night. And so they love me. And so I'm going to guess that I lost about 2 pounds, maybe. We'll say 2.5 pounds. So that means that I probably have close to 17 pounds of meat left. And then when I cook this down, I'm going to grind it all. Yeah, that's heavy. I'm going to grind it all. So when I cook it down, I'm going to lose moisture that's in the meat and all that. So again, it will shrink down some more. But I'm thinking that I'm going to do these in 1 pound increments. So I may have to have both canners out. I'm going to do pint jars because a pint jar will hold 1 pound of meat. And so you cook it so it doesn't end up to be meatloaf with no flavor. Anyway, or beef loaf. Anyhow, so I've got it all cut up. I'm ready to go. I got the grinder set up on the KitchenAid, and we'll try that out. I haven't ever ground beef on this, so we'll try it out tomorrow after I get back from my meeting and I'm ready to get canning. I'll get my jars all in the dishwasher and ready to go tonight, and it'll be a big day tomorrow. But actually, it shouldn't take that long now that I've got everything prepped. Okay, it's finally here. We're gonna do some meat grinding. And I actually have to take my ring off. Because I want this as sanitary as possible, I'm gonna use gloves. So let me grab some gloves. Should have had those out and ready, but sometimes I don't think about things till the after the fact. Okay, so we're going to use the KitchenAid attachment, and I'm hoping it's strong enough. I have not ground beef in this yet. I did my ground turkey, and then if anybody knows how to stop that rotation, that would be awesome. So I've cut everything into small enough pieces. This is ice cold. So, and then I've got my plunger here. So we're just going to start this grinding. See how she does. If not, we'll get the big boy out. I would recommend everybody have a grinder of some sort if they can. Even the little old hand grinder from I have one that we bought at Cabela's, but even one you get at a garage sale, you can pick them up for like 10 bucks, 5 bucks. That's doing okay. So we're getting the coarse grind as far as the choice of blades. Um, when you can ground beef, it ends up very soft, so it makes great sloppy joes. It makes Cincinnati chili like you wouldn't believe. Just amazing. Tacos, you know, this is doing just fine. Now I did cut off all the sinew and everything, so that's why it's going through here pretty easy. The fat will go through, and I do want a little bit of fat, or there's no flavor, right? Although I've ground elk with no fat in it, and man, it was delicious, I have to tell you. It was one of my favorites. I stopped adding fat after that. So here we go. And then as soon as I get this bowl full, I'm going to put it into the pot that I'm going to cook it in. And I'm not going to fry this meat. I'm going to actually boil it. So, look at that. That's doing a great job. Let me give you a really good visual here. Isn't that nice? It's just a nice, smells like fresh ground round. Wow, yeah. Awesome. So even if you were gonna use that meat and freeze it, you could freeze it like that too if you did not want a can. And if you know, vacuum sealed it and wrapped it in butcher paper, it would still last up to 2 years in your freezer. So either way, it's a win-win situation for you. I'm going to bring you back when I get all the meat ground, okay? I don't think you need to sit through all that, even though I love to chat with you. I just wish somebody would answer me back. Okay, so now we've got all the meat ground up. That took really only about 10 minutes. So I'm going to put this in this 12-quart pot, I guess we figured out it is. And try not to make a mess all over the floor. Of course, the dogs will appreciate it if I do. Okay, so it is full. I really couldn't have done any more in this batch at all. So I'm happy with that. I'm gonna now fill this with water. I'm not gonna spice this meat because I don't, what if I don't wanna use it for chili? What if I wanna use it for a soup or something else, spaghetti or something. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna season it. I'm gonna put a little salt in each jar and that's about it. So anyway, I'm gonna get going. All you have to do is put this on the stove and let it boil till it's cooked through. Occasionally come over and stir it about so, you know, any chunks that are sticking together are getting cooked through, and then we're gonna load our jars. It's really, really simple. And it's just time, that's all. And while it's going, I'll be doing something else, so no big deal. All right, in fact, I gotta get going on my bread. All right, so I will bring you back maybe in the middle of the cooking process, or, you know, when I start loading up jars. Super easy. All right, so we're back and we're ready and willing to start canning our ground beef. I'm very excited for you guys. It's kind of a process. These jars just came out of the dishwasher and they're still hot. And I'll load that back one. So what I'm doing, because I'm not going to throw away the broth that's in here. So I've got a spider here to drain it off while I'm filling it full of the meat. And then I'll dip my ladle in and grab a hold of some of that broth. This wasn't a really fatty bunch, so because I had control of it, it really is going to be a healthier version. All the fat will flow to the top. If you don't want it or you don't need it in that particular meal, you just take it right off. Spoon it right off. That's all you do. You get your little spatula, plastic, please. Spatula, and kind of work that down in there. It'll pack in there pretty good. So, anyway, excited. I got my sourdough starter all happy and made a big batch of sourdough bread coming up. Oh, well, I guess I should show you the rest of this story. So then I grabbed some of the broth off the top because you're losing space with meat, and you just kind of fill it. And it should work down into the meat. Make sure you get all the air bubbles out of there, no matter what. Anybody that's new to canning, this is imperative, or you could have a failed seal. And, you know, we work so hard and spend so much money at this, the last thing you want is a failed seal. Now, that's too full. So what I'm going to do is get that off of there. It's a nice thing about this, you're in control, okay? So I'm just going to transfer. I want 1 inch of headspace because I don't want any, again, a failed seal. So it's to those, that first ring that's there is where you want your stuff. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and you wipe down your rings and or your rim. Ow! And you have to have tough fingers. Oh, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, about a teaspoon. That's really all you need. Some people like 2 in a quart, but I don't. I don't like stuff super salty. I want the option to salt it when I'm ready to. Oh, okay, let me go around here and get this pan out from behind. Watch out, chicken. Watch out, little chicken. Okay. Then I can grab my whole thing. Sorry about that. Awkward moments are never far away. So it's just finger tight. And there you have it. There's a quart of ground beef, and that's about 2 pounds. A pint jar will hold a pound of beef or meat, and a quart will hold 2. So we're gonna see, you know, because this meat had liquid in it too, so we'll see how much we get. I am not gonna waste any of this broth though. I can tell you if there's some left, I'm canning it. So, I don't wanna waste anything. Yay, it smells really good. I know it sounds funny to boil ground beef, but it works. I looked at, when I went to Smart and Final today, I went over, oh, that was nice. I went over for some beans, and they have a decent deal on 5-pound bags of beans and pasta and that kind of stuff. And so anyway, I went over there and I looked, and a number 10 size can of beef for tacos, it looked like, is what they wanted, like restaurant, it's a restaurant supply. It was $17, and I thought, boy, you gotta sell a lot of tacos to make that worth it. So I even felt better about what I'm doing today after that little visit. 17 bucks. It's a lot of money for something I can do at home. So we'll see if I got it close on the filling. Get that all the way down to the bottom. You can use a barbecue skewer if you don't have something plastic, a plastic knife. You just want to make sure there's no air pockets in there. It's a little easier to have air pockets, and again, I'm a little high. I'm gonna have to stop that. My mess over here caught me off guard. So I'm gonna wipe this one down really nicely and go ahead and grab another lid and get me a little ring. There you go. Finger tight and into the canner. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you on back when I've got all these in the canner and we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so I'm back and I got exactly 7 quarts in the canner, and then this, well, I would say that's easily a quart. We're gonna use that with our chili beans, and so that worked out really well. And I was gonna can the extra stock. It's about right here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna utilize that for my dogs because they got all the scraps off of this beef last night. So if you think about pound-wise, I had 19.5 pounds. This is probably 2 pounds here. And you probably have a good 2 pounds, I'm thinking, of water in that meat that, you know, loses it. And so 8 quarts of meat out of that is not bad. And And that will be multiple meals. We'll never eat all this in one meal. So this will be 2 to 3 meals as far as lunches and dinners go. So this is going to go in here. I'm going to probably add some water and some brown rice and some vegetables to that. And I'm going to freeze that up for the dogs. And I put a spoonful over their kibble, and they are happy campers. So let's look in the canner. I'm getting ready to put that lid on. Let's go over there. You want to? Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. Canner's full. Coming up. All right, we're back. Oh my gosh, they're done. And I have to tell you, early on, when this first started venting, I actually heard a big pop. And I've heard that noise before a couple of times in the past, probably twice. And the whole bottom of the jar came out. And so I'm looking, and I can see all of them boiling still. I've let this rest. It came down off of pressure to 0. It's been resting now with the lid off for a good 10 minutes. So I'm going to bring them out. I don't think any of them broke. I was ready to show you a fail. Nope, the water is clear. It is going to happen. You know, you have old jars. They say not to microwave them. They also say, well, you got to temper your jars. They have to be hot enough. I think that if you heat them up like a dishwasher, unsanitized, that's hot. It's hot. It's hot to touch, and it tempers them, and you're putting hot liquid in there. But, drastic change in temperature would do it. And, so I think the ones that I had, it was doing salsa. So it was just water bath canning. And my belief, and I talked to a very experienced canner that I worked with at the time, was that it was a faulty case of jars, because it was like a seam around the bottom popped out. It was really weird. Anyway, it was a big salsa mess too. So, boy, I've only got an inch of water left in here. The one thing you do not want to do is run your canner dry. It will ruin it. And if you have a close to $300 canner, you don't want that to happen. So now I had a question. Oh, I still can't touch that. I had a question while this was going, or not really a question, somebody that was leery. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this, make sure you can see this. Okay, so here's the canning lid. And whenever I go to can, I make sure I can see daylight through that. And that hole is clear, because it will build up mineral deposits. And so actually it looks like it's kind of starting to clog. This over here is that's what locks it in place. There's a locking mechanism inside here. Once that locks down and your lid's twisted on there, it is not going to come off until it comes off of pressure. Now, this person was worried about explosions and all that good stuff. If you did bring your canner to too high a temperature, too much pressure in it, which would be easy to do with these Presto canners, there's no gauge. For so many years of cooking with pressure cookers and canning and all that, from a small child, I mean, you learn to recognize the jiggle of the weight, what's okay. But that being said, this plug here, if it got too much pressure built up, it is a fail-safe. It would blow that plug. It'd probably take the paint off your ceiling or whatever was in its way, but the pan is not going to explode on you. Everything in there, though, I will tell you, would come undone, and it would be a big, giant, hot mess. So, yes, they are to be respected, for sure. And at all times, you should respect these guys. They are a piece of serious equipment, even the little Prestos here. You gotta be careful. They're hot, they're killing botulism, they're doing all kinds of fun stuff. Anyway, my question to my viewers, and I know I have canners out there that view my channel, and I thank you for that. I keep getting, now these were pretty new rings, and I keep getting like black, like they're oxidizing on the rings and the lids, and I don't understand why. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So excuse the movement, but look how pretty. I'm so excited. So I have, I kind of figured it out. I went with 19.5 pounds of meat. I cut off 2 pounds. I had at least a pound of liquid that came out of that meat, which did not go to waste. I'll tell you, my dogs are going to be in heaven. It made 2 big containers, so it will be addition to their food for over 2 weeks. Anyway, so I don't know if you can see that ow, that's hot, oxidation on the top, and that's a brand new lid. I don't get it. I don't understand if I put, ooh, popping. I love that. I don't understand why that's happening. It's kind of making my rings look funky. Are they making them cheaper? Because it just started happening to me, I would say a couple months ago. And every time I'm at Walmart, and this is probably a bad habit, because every time I'm at Walmart, I pick up lids for both sizes, just 1 package for each size, so it's only a few dollars. And then about every 10th trip, I pick up lids and rings. And I have Tadler lids, and that's okay. But see, these rings, deteriorating, and you can't buy rings online by themselves, which is really sad. When they're oxidizing and kind of falling apart before your very eyes, that's a scary thing for me. I don't like it. So it makes the product not pretty. And if I give anything like this and make a basket up for a gift, I always put a ring back on the jar. I don't store them with their rings on, but I do put a ring back on the jar. And so, I don't know, just putting it out there. So just thought I'd share, and I'm going to spread these out a little bit so they have plenty of room to cool down at a nice even pace. There's 2 towels here on the counter, and I remember the first time I canned and was showing my husband. I was so proud, and did pressure canning for him, and the stuff was boiling, and he walks by an hour later and it was still boiling in the jar. He goes, is that going to be safe? And I go, just don't disturb it, leave it alone. So anyways, I hope this inspires you to try out canning. Take advantage of your local sales when you have them, and do it with a neighbor, do it with a friend. I wish you all could just come over and we could have a big canning party. I'd love it. And my next video is coming up. We're gonna and we did have another quart, so this was 7 quarts, 8 quarts. So you figure 16 pounds of meat actually. Out of that 19.5 went into here, and I think that's a really good deal for $2.17 a pound. I'll take it, because I canned last May, right before, probably the end of April, right before Cinco de Mayo, and I write on the top. I will write what I paid per pound for it. I canned, I don't know, I think it was 3 12-pound pork roasts, and they do the tamales and all that. For 88 cents a pound, I bought that. Not actually, I'd gotten it cheaper before, but I wrote that on there, and to this day, 8 months later or 9 months later, or whatever it is, I have not seen it anywhere close to that. It's not even been 99 cents a pound. So I'm really glad, and I'll appreciate it when I eat it. So anyways, hope this helps. I hope it encourages you. I hope it inspires you. Get out there and do some canning, and enjoy it with your family. Get your family involved. This is a great family project. Anyways, I'll see you next time. God bless.